Hello, it's Erin. I'm back. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Book Talk. Today we are discussing Heir by Sarah J. Maas. I know it's been a while since I filmed my last book talk, but I've been catching up on my reading, and since then I've been reading all of these Sarah J. Maas, at least up to Queen of Shadows, which I will book talk soon on this channel. I figured let me book talk Heir since I haven't gotten to that, and I'm going to discuss with you guys. Hey guys, okay, this is future Erin. When Erin was editing this book talk, she didn't realize that certain parts got cut off, so I have to re-film the parts that got cut off. That's why I look a little different. I went shopping, so that's why I figured I'd film this while my makeup is on, so I can film this for you guys. So I'm just going to go over the parts that got cut off. You wouldn't really be able to tell on seeing the clothes, but I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to school for the parts that I missed, and then it's going to come in and out of like past book talk and this part of the book talk. So if you get a little confused, it's because everything got cut off, as I said before. And then at the end, when I'm finished, I'll let you guys know when to go back to the book talk, but I'm just going to go over the parts that were missed in the book talk because there were really important points that I want to discuss. Thanks, camera. This is the third book in the Throne of Glass series. There's going to be 7 books. The next book is coming out very soon. I read up to Queen of Shadows. I have not read Empire Storms yet because I'm going to take my time on that one. But I did read Heir not too long ago, maybe a few months ago. It's been a while since I read this book. I'm going to be a little bit rusty with the information in this book. I was taking my notes. I referenced Christine Riccio's book talk for a little bit of clarity on the book, so I remember what happened, and I like relying on her book talks because her book talks are phenomenal. Go check out her book talks as well. And I just needed to get a clarification on the book, and I watch all her book talks to get clarification on other books as well. You guys didn't know that. I just needed some clarification on this book because it's been a while since I read this book. In my Crown Midnight book talk, I did spoil, like, what was it, this book, and yeah, because I think I was reading this one when I filmed that book talk. I may have given a little information about this away. I'm going to try not to give Queen of Shadows away while talking about this book. But considering I read Queen of Shadows a few months ago and somewhat remember some of the information from there, I don't think that's going to happen. You don't have to worry about the Queen of Shadows book talk, and I'll explain this in that book talk. I don't be spoiling any other books for you by accident in that book anyway, because I didn't read Empire Storms yet, so yay! But this one, there should be no spoils for the next book, because, well, it's been a while since I finished that book. It was maybe 3 months ago. October was the last time I read this book, because I remember I was reading this while I was filming my video. So yes, it's been a while since I read this book. But I am going to book talk it for you guys, because I am book talking all the books on this channel to expand my book talk horizons, if you will. Enough about me talking about this book. I just wanted to give you that little information. I like this book, but I think, and I'm going to mention this book one time in this book talk, yeah, I think I like Queen of Shadows better, but actually there are moments in this book that I really did like, but I think I like Queen of Shadows better, in my opinion. This book was good, and I think between this and Crown of Midnight, this was my favorite, but I think because reading Queen of Shadows was my favorite, but I'll mention that in my next book talk. I did enjoy this book. It was very good. It had good elements, and I really, really liked it. I enjoyed it very much, and that's basically it. If you guys do not know what Throne of Glass is about, I have book talks up on my channel for Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, as I mentioned before. So you can maybe go read the books, check out my videos, read this book, and then come back and watch this video, because you don't want to get spoiled, now do you? So for those of you who haven't read the book, go read the book, and then come back and we can discuss it. So that's all I can say without spoilers. So bye, not spoiler people. Bye! Spoiler people, before the book, let's discuss. We got a lot more characters that were introduced to, obviously more than the last book, and it's to be expected that with any book, you're gonna get more characters. First character, Manon. Okay, I pronounced her Manon. Christine Riccio, when I was looking at her book talk, pronounced it Manon. I'm gonna say Manon. I don't know if it's Manon. It's probably Manon or Manon. I'm gonna say Manon, so just go with it. Manon is one of these witches, and the witches, mind you, were mentioned in Throne of Glass and with the yellow legs, but now we get more in depth of these witches and where they're from, and we get their background. They have iron teeth witches, and they are made from these Volg demons and a witch. So basically they are bred between the two, and they are these really interesting witches. They are new. Manon is the head of this clan, and she's surrounded by her witch posse of sorts. And I'm going to mention another character here that Christine did not mention. One of hers is Australian, and she is her second in command, and she's like Manon's go-to, and she helps her out and stuff. And we get more of the witches because we first opened up the book, and it's mainly surrounded around Manon and their training, and they get these wyverns, which are basically these like dragons that they ride on to, I guess because these witches don't ride on brooms, they ride on dragons. Christine mentioned that they look like the dragons from How You Train Your Dragon, and I'm going to be honest with you, that's what I pictured when I first started reading the book, and they're supposed to be a bit monstrous, more intimidating than that because that's a cartoon, but honestly, I still pictured it, and I don't know why, and I still kept picturing it as How You Train Your Dragon because Christine like Googled it, and that's how she figured out what they really looked like, but I kept picturing it because I didn't picture it as this big, ruthless, like, scary animal. It's something like a cute little dragon, even though it's kind of monstrous and kind of ruthless. Yeah! First she gets this one called, originally she gets Titus, but then she finds this other wyvern who's not, like, this other wyvern is like the big badass one, and I think Abernox, I'm going to pronounce that way, is the kind of underdog there, and Abernox, like, and Titus fight for her as, like, fight for your owner, so to speak. And, like, they fight for her, and Abernox wins, and you can see that as Manon gets this wyvern, she starts to care. We're starting to see another side of her. These wyverns are supplied to them so they can fly. They must have traveled on foot prior to these wyverns coming to us. I don't know. Opinions on Manon. She's a very interesting character. I liked her morally in Queen of Shadows, morally in this book. At first I didn't like these witch storylines. I kind of found them boring and a little weird and stuff, but I really didn't like the witch like part of this book, but I didn't really like Manon in this book, but I liked her morally in the next book because we see her caring more in the next book. In this book she's starting to develop and become more of a human and get more of a heart. So to speak, well, she's not human, but she's starting to grow a heart in this book, but in the next book we see more of a development from her, and I liked her better in Queen of Shadows, better than this book, but I had mixed feelings about her in this book. But she was still a very good character to read, and we got like some insight about her life, and because she is raised by her grandmother, who was a witch, and a really, really evil witch, mind you, that like practically like slaps her and like makes life hard for her. And you think that life is hard for her in this book? Queen of Shadows is a lot worse, and yes, her evil grandmother makes another evil appearance, and it ain't pretty. And let's just say she teams up, and like just things just go downhill from there, and she has to do with also her second in command's life, and that's for another book talk, so I'm not gonna go there. Manon was better in Queen of Shadows, and I just liked her better in that book. Anyway, back to this book. These witches have these, as I said before, have these like iron teeth, which is why they're called the Iron Teeth Witches. I believe they're all, you know, even the yellow legs they were, and because you can see the teeth coming out of the black beak witches, and you see more of them again in Queen of Shadows. That gets real in Queen of Shadows with these witches, I'm just saying, and it surrounds them more, and it like gets an idea of it, and maybe she's not that evil. But again, things are coming back in Queen of Shadows, but not so much this book, but things are going to get more intense with these witches in the next book. But they suck blood. I think they're like part vampire, because I feel like they have these like fangs. I just picture them like weird, and apparently they have like these second eyelids used to fly, which is really weird. And like they have like these fangs. I'm picturing it as like these like shiny metal teeth, and they like can like scare anybody, and they have these weird teeth. But it's an interesting way to look at these witches. Manon gets this silk for Abernox, so I think he flies better, I believe, from I can remember from the book and the book talk and Christine's book talk. And she gets this silk from a spider, an arachnid, like these weird spider things. These arachnid things were weird, and I found these characters really strange. Like they were very small characters in this book, but they were in like this cave. And I remember that like she was gonna steal it from these spiders, and I don't know how I forgot how she found out about it, but she wanted to weave it so that she can use it for Amnok so he can fly better. These arachnids are so weird. Didn't they make a deal with her or something? And like they were like so evil and weird, and like they kind of creeped me out a little bit. Like I'm reading, like these arachnid things are weird, and Manon's like, they don't scare me, because nothing scares Manon, because Manon is fearless, at least for a while, unless she comes face to face with her grandmother. Then that's a different story, because I think that she's afraid of her grandmother, but that's just my opinion, because woman's evil, and I already mentioned that. She comes face to face with these arachnids, and these like weird creatures that derive from spiders, which is really weird, but it was worth it because she ended up getting the silk for her Amnox. As you can see, Manon and Selena have two separate storylines in this book, and basically, like, we don't see it in this book, but characters do collide in the next book, and a lot of people were, at the time when this book came out, were like, we want to see a Manon and Selena fight in SmackDown Showdown. And we get that in the end of the next book. Oh, did I give that too much away? But we do get that in the next book, and it's interesting how those characters collide in that book, but we do not get that here. I know Christine said she wants to see it, but this is before she read Queen of Shadows, and I'm just like, well, you get what you want in the next book, because there is a showdown between those two characters, and it's really interesting seeing those two characters collide, because, see, Manon's caught up in things, Selena's caught up in things, and it's just really confusing, and I'll mention this in my next book talk. I said I wasn't going to mention things from Queen of Shadows, but look at me, I am. I remember more of that book than this book, because I just finished that one recently. I love the part where Abraxas is like, she takes him out, and like, she's trying to hunt for him, because she gets him a goat leg, and she wants to feed him, and he's too busy, like, sniffing the flowers. And I found some of those scenes hilarious, and I found Manon's scenes to be hilarious too. But even reading, like, again, Queen of Shadows, and I felt more of the scenes were, or the lines in that book were funnier than this book, but there were good moments in that book, and this is one of them, because he was smelling the flowers, and it was just weird seeing this big monstrous, again, ruthless animal sniffing flowers, and it's like a weird comedic moment, and it was just really a good part of the book. It was a small, like, interesting scene in the book, and it was really good. These witches take part in a somewhat, and I agree with Christine again when she mentioned this in her book talk, it was sort of like a Quidditch competition where they were, like, all, like, fighting, like, instead of brooms, it's women's. Like, they had to, like, go in this competition, and then she saves one of the blue blood witches, which is another coven of witches instead of like the other covens of witches, obviously, and she saves one of them from dying instead of winning the competition herself, which we see a change of heart in. And this is where we see Manon grow a heart, because she saved her. Obviously we see another side of Manon, and we know that she's growing a heart. If she didn't grow a heart, then she would just let that person go. It's like when Selena saved Nox when she was in that competition. She ended up coming in late, and then Manon saves the person. Ergo, she was in late with the competition. So we see a heart grow from Manon from there, and that is just an interesting factor that we get to see if we get to see a different side of Manon that I'm really glad that we got in this book, and I'm just glad that we got to see more side of her, and we're going to see more of that side of her in the next book, which I really enjoyed as well, and I'm liking this new side of Manon that we're getting instead of this big, ruthless character. And it's really interesting seeing her as this character. She changes from one book to the next. Seeing her change from one book to the other is really interesting, and I have not read Empire Storms yet, but maybe we'll see more of that from her in the next book. But seeing as things change towards the end of the last book, I don't know. And I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's move on! The next character we see here is Rowan, and Rowan is from Dorindale, which is where Selena travels, and at first we meet him, and he's kind of an a-hole. When we first meet Rowan, he's kind of like this whole, hi, I'm like better than you, and this, that, and the other thing, and like he's kind of like, not gonna lie, a little arrogant. We all think he's arrogant, right? Agree with me. So like, he comes off as this like arrogant guy, and like, he's like, putting Selena in the kitchens, he's making her brew dishes and work with it, but she made some nice characters in this book, which is really interesting, but he's kind of like an a-hole in the beginning of this book, But he gets better throughout it, and then they have this blood oath, which basically means that they cut their hands, and then there's a cut on one hand, and you do the same on the other, and then they mesh together, and your whole hands and your blood is together or something. And basically, that is like this version of Parabate! So you got like the whole Parabate going, like the whole like, hey, Parabate, we're late now, that's cool, let's party! So they got this whole like Parabate thing going, and it's not really called Parabate in this book, because obviously it's a Cassandra Clare thing, but it's similar to that effect. In this book, the Parabates, I'm going to call them Parabate, love each other. They can like each other. They can marry. It doesn't matter. It's not against the rules. Not that there's anything wrong with those books, but you can actually like love your blood oath person and have a relationship with them, which is really interesting. And if you watch my book talk, I have a very issue like pronouncing it's Catcombs or something. I watch the book talk. So it's interesting with that. And like you can like have a relationship with them and love them and everything, and there's no problems. With Rowan, everybody thinks he's like the best looking guy. Come on, I'm Team Solorian and Dorian is bae, but like I picture Jamie Campbell Bower as Rowan because you got that whole Mortal Instruments thing going, the Parabate, Blood Oath, you get it. So that's just what I got out of it. And Rowan and Selena are like BFFs, and they eventually like become best friends, and they train together, and he kind of warms up to her a bit. Now, don't ship them, not in this book and not in the next book, but that's another book talk for another time. So back to this book. Selena and Rowan spend a lot of time together in the book. Everybody's saying like, oh, they're gonna be in love, they're gonna be in love. It's like, excuse me, you're not supposed to fall in love with your Parabate, okay? That's not how it works. Well, I guess in this book, you're allowed to love your Parabate Catcombs. I thought they were just friends and stuff, but you see them like snuggling in bed together because she stays with Rowan in his room. The moment in this book was good when she was training and they were at that festival. Now this scene when she caught on fire, because she has like this fire power, honestly she's trying to control her power and Rowan's helping her. And Rowan's power is really cool. He's a hawk. He shapeshifts into a hawk. Like, you can fly wherever you want. You can fly to Europe if you want. Well, I don't know. This is like a different world. But if we were birds, we could fly to Europe. But I don't know how far birds fly. Forget that. Rowan has this really cool power to shapeshift, and obviously Selena has her like fire power. Now when she was on fire during this scene and like he was training her too hard, and she's like, I think she says like, I'm hungry and I want to stop, and honestly I felt for her there. I was like gonna like tear up because I felt so bad for her. And then like Rowan like nursed her back to health, and he helped her because he thought that she was in triumph and she burnt out and she can't do that again because it's bad for her power. And that scene really got to me, and it was really like really heartbreaking looking at that in the book, and it made me really sad. And I just feel like that like she was being worked too hard, and I think she does develop some type of other burnout, almost burnout. I don't know if it's in this book or the next book, but it does happen I think again, but it's more dangerous this time. But that other scene was really, really bad, and it just made me feel sad just reading it. And I do remember that scene. That's one of the most scenes I remember from this book. We learn about her power, and someone that can stop her power and has a match with her power, and we see this in the last book, is someone, and I'm giving so much away here again, who matches her power, and he has the ice power and the cold. Who else has another power like that? Dorian. It's always Dorian. It's Dorian. It will always be Dorian. That's why they belong together, because their powers would mesh very well together, and they can work with each other. Because Dorian has this really wicked power between his power and Selena's power. They could form this bond and get married and have this fantastic power relationship and stop the world from bad things happening. But that kind of doesn't happen in the last book because bad things happen. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Dorian's also trying to get used to his power. He's developing it and he realizes it. Dorian's also trying to get used to his power. He's developing it and he realizes it. In Crown of Midnight, he realizes his power and he's trying to work with it in this book. Rowan can't come back to Ireland because Dorndale, I guess, is like exception to this rule, because we all know that Arlen has the whole no magic rule and nobody can have magic because it's all wiped out, and that's why Selena can't use her power. Or she can. Rowan can't come to Arlen because he can't use his power. So obviously Selena has to come back and fix things. The next character we meet in this book is Aedion. And Aedion is actually someone from Selena's past. They are cousins. And he is like this other Fae warrior. And he comes and he and Kale team up in order to figure out this whole like thing with the king. And I like at first it was kind of like, for me, they were like hating each other, but then as they teamed up and they made their plan, they became more like best buds, and everybody grows much closer in the next book. They become best buds, they fight together. Kale and Aedion, I'm gonna tell you now, are freaking friendship goals, because they are so cool, like fighting together and everything. And he's like a good character. He's like one of my favorite characters because he has like these really good lines. He's like very humorous, just like Selena is. They came from like the same family, they're cousins, and apparently they were supposed to get married, but that never happened. They were supposed to, like, they were not engaged, but they were like gonna be arranged marriage, and they were like third cousins or something to that effect. And like, he's just a great character. He's a great warrior, and I just liked him. Like, you always have that character in a book that makes you laugh. And honestly, I haven't found that in the first book, but in this book, I saw it because, like, he is like that character. He's not that exact character that I was exactly looking for. Like in Shadow Me, we got Kenji, who like made you laugh from every page. But no character in this book measures up to that. But like, Aedion is like close to that, and he's a good character. You got Selena with the good lines too, but she's the main character. We want a cool, funny side character, but we had that in the first book because we got Nox was in the first book, and he was kind of funny, and we liked him, but then he ended up dying. Spoiler. Wait, you guys read the first book. But he ended up dying. But I like Aedion because he brings fresh new things to his book, and he has that sense of humor that we love, and he meshes with Selena very well, and I liked him a lot, and he was really good in this book. We get Selena's story about when she sort of got into the assassination. We didn't get much, but we're probably going to get that in Assassin's Blade and like more of her origin story there. And what happens is we got to get bits and pieces of the information, but now we get the full story, because when she wanted to see her parents, and her parents were already dead in their bed. That rhymes. I'm not doing that. She wanted to go see them, and they were already dead, lying in bed, and they were just murdered. And then there were these people coming for her, and like her lady's maid, Lady Marian, tries to protect her and tells her to run, and she holds off the guards, and then she goes on this bridge and she jumps off the bridge, but she loses the word key because the word key is in the necklace. It's an amulet, but it's in the necklace. So she loses the word key, and basically she's all on her own, and that's when we get the story of how she became an assassin. At a very young age, she was an assassin, and like that's how they basically find her and they make her an assassin, and that's her whole story. And she came from this life of luxury and living in this great like kingdom, and then like it becomes like, oh hey, now you're going to become an assassin, your life's going to change. Nobody ever thought that that was going to happen. She didn't plan that. It's just her parents end up dead, and then things end up happening, and she becomes an assassin by fate. She had other plans, but fate had in store for her. And it was kind of sad because she was so young and what she went through, and the fact that they found her, and like the fact that her lady's maid sacrificed herself for her. Your servants go to such lengths, and she told her to run. Selena can shift from being human to Fae, and I think that's like, she's like one of the very few that can do that. And it's hard for her to shift, and then like Rowan just like keeps pressuring her to shift, and it's hard for her. I guess she is learning, like I said before, as I mentioned previously, that it was like a lot. And then like, because I think I mentioned this in my Crown of Midnight book too, but she must change her appearance. I don't know how the shifting exactly works, but she can shift between fairy and human. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's hard for her to shift, and Rowan is trying to put all this pressure on her so she can succeed. Because honestly, he cares. That's why he's being hard on her. Your teachers are tough on you because they want you to succeed, right? Well, Rowan's like a teacher. A very, very strict teacher. And, well, it worked because she can shift. She does become more at one with her powers. Another character that we get introduced to, I'm just going to count her as a character here. I mentioned Manon's like second in command here, but I'm going to mention her as a character because she's a side character, but but I'm gonna mention her anyway, and that is Sorcia. I liked Sorcia. I thought she was a great character. She's one of the medics, and she develops a relationship with Dorian. And I'm not gonna lie with you, when the first time I filmed this, I think I had a better reaction, but I'll do my best here. I loved Sorcia and Dorian. They were so cute. Like, I thought they were adorable. I loved them. They had a great relationship, and it made Dorian change his ways, because he was like, hi, I'm a womanizer. And it's like, now I love Selena, but she don't want me anymore. So that's like, I have Sorcia. Now I can have a normal relationship with all that crap in the way. I liked Dorian and Sorcia. I thought they were good. And oh my god, those like scenes of them in the bed. It was so cute. I love them. But until Sorcia died, I was like, oh. The king went in. He's, I'm going to cut your throat because you know what? I don't like you anymore. Because Dorian and Sorcia were secretly seeing each other, and then bitch inside wanted to go be an a-hole and go, hey, I'm gonna go tell the king about it, and then bad things happen due to this. Sorcia ends up dying because like he wants to break Dorian for some reason. In a way, when Sorcia dies, it's a good thing because we see Dorian's true colors come out, and we see his power go like. And then the king sees his power and he thinks about it and he takes advantage of it because he sees how really powerful his son is. And I guess the only reason really he likes his power stuff is because he can use Dorian to his advantage. You see that King Ardalan use Dorian to his advantage so that like he can go in and just basically like use his power. He puts the collar on Dorian and now Dorian is under his control. And stupid demons are inside of him, and like now he's like his personal power slave. Like, asshole, use your own powers, okay? Like, get your own army. Don't use Dorian. It's just really upsetting that like he did that, and it's like Dorian doesn't deserve that, and he has to get used to his power. And the guy just learned his power, and you're gonna use him to your advantage. Like, who are you? Apparently him. So, you saw in between that I did put the characters in. This is the end of the book talk of the little parts I put in between. The last part when I talked about the king. This is it. And now it's going to continue to the next part. I apologize in advance for having everything cut out. My camera stopped without me knowing. I don't know why my camera's weird. It stops and sometimes the battery goes and sometimes the memory card goes, but it just stops on its own. It's weird. My other camera ran out of memory, so I'm using my mom's video camera, which is why the camera's changed. So, you got one thing of a book talk on half of the camera, and then on this camera, I know it's a little weird. I apologize for all that. And I also apologize that me coming to you in the future, I just didn't realize my camera stopped. And now I bring you back to past Eren and the remaining of this Heir of Fire book talk. Because then his father's like, ooh, I'm going to use your power to my advantage. And you're going to be like my power slave. And we're going to, like, rule the world and stuff. Because you see, these fog demons are all controlled by a necklace. And basically the idea is, and we get more of an idea of this in the next book. It's more surrounded around this storyline in the next book. But basically, there's these soul-sucking things. Like, these, like, things come in, like, these demons are inside this necklace and they somehow get into your brain and then they control you, whereas like you're in the brain and you're being hidden, so to speak, and you can't really do anything about it. And Queen of Shadows, the way it was written was and explained was kind of confusing. Dorian is like controlled by this like demon that's doing all his thinking and all his movements and everything is controlling him, and he can't do anything because he's defenseless because he's wearing this collar. And with the collar necklace, he's wearing this collar, and he's stuck. Obviously, it's not going to come off. I know it has because I've read the next book. But, like, these collars control these people. And most of these Vogs, some of them are civilians, and they're all wearing them. And not just people with powers, but, like, regular people, too. This is how King Ardalan has his army. These are how the Vog demons come about. These are these demons that come inside you and everything. Now, I don't know how this, like, applies to the witches and the breeding thing, because that really confused me a little bit, but these collars are the ones that are controlling these people, and there's, like, basically no hope for these people. It's, like, do or die, and, like, we just go more in depth into the next book, and it's just, like, this is how he makes his army, with a stupid collar. And it's just not right, and he uses Dorian for it because he wants to use them to his advantage. These whole relationships, like in this book, like Dorian had Sorcia, like Celaena had Sam, and I know Sam came way, way, way before Dorian, and Sorcia came way, 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 way after Celaena and Dorian parted ways in Throne of Glass. But honestly, like, they both, like, love people, and I guess, like, Sorcia was his first love, like Sam was for Celaena. So they both fell in love, and now it's like, well, who are we with now? Now, what's going to happen in the next book? Well, I read the next book, so I don't have any theories because I read it, and that's another book talk for another time. There are no theories, but I will have theories for Empire Storms when I do my Queen of Shadows book talk, which I don't know when that'll happen. But I read the book, so I have no theories about what's going to happen, and I don't want to spoil any of you. I can give you a preview of what I read. Stuff does happen, the story does continue, obviously. I can tell you what I want to see throughout the series. I want to see Solarian happen. I want to see, like, I can't really say much because I read the Queen of Shadows. I don't like the idea of Rowan and Celaena. I like the Blood Oath thing, but I just don't like how, like, I don't know, towards the end of the book that kind of got close. I want to see Rowan end up with somebody that's not Celaena. I just want to see some more action. I want to see both Dorian and Celaena master their powers, and I want to see them, like, maybe, like, help each other in some way. And that's basically my theories for the next book. I can't really say much. But that's basically what I want to see, and I'll give you more theories when I do my Queen of Shadows book talk, which I've mentioned like a million times before. We also have the scenes with Dorian, like, controlling his power with the crystals, which is also really cool. And, like, we just see him do some training, but I'd also like to see that too. To wrap this up, alright, my favorite part of this book, I'm going to be honest with you, I liked the Sorcia and the Dorian. It was just an interesting relationship. It didn't last long, but it was still nice to see, and I enjoyed it. That was one of my favorite parts of the book. Like, anytime, like, the Dorian's chapter came up, and if he wasn't with her, I was kind of pissed. But when they were together in the chapter, I was just really happy, and, like, I just really enjoyed those chapters. They weren't together for a long time, and there wasn't a lot of scenes with them together, but when they were really good. But Dorian and Sorcia were my favorite part of this book. But I also liked the whole, like, Rowan and Celaena's journey. I didn't like the Rowan and Celaena possibly getting intimate because that will not happen. Well, at least in this book. But I like the lines. I like the characters. I liked Aedion's scenes. And like I said, he's a hilarious character. I liked that too. But mainly it was the Sorcia and Dorian guys. They were so good. And that's like my only really favorite part of the book. Yeah, that stuff's good too. And like the scene at the festival really got me. That was another very good part, and overall this book was fantastic, so I can't really say my favorite part. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little difficult for me to film this book talk because I haven't read this book in months, so like I kind of forgot most of the stuff that happened. This happened I think at Crown of Midnight too, so I should really film book talk closer to when I read the book so I have a little recollection. But I'm going to try to get better with that. I'm going to film Queen of Shadows as soon as possible before, like, all this information goes pfft. But yeah, overall, I liked this book a lot, and it was very good, and I also enjoyed Queen of Shadows as well, and you'll get that in the next book talk. I'm going to stop mentioning that. So that's basically it. There was also this part in the book where Aedion, like, was, like, going to get executed, and then Celaena was obviously going to come in, and she was going to save him. Because Arlen set the trap so that she can, like, save him, and then he was going to catch her. She came in, and she saved Aedion, and everybody's happy, and that was just, like, what we wanted, and that's what we got. That is my video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys liked my thoughts on the book. I tried my best with this book talk. Like I said, I haven't read this book since, like, maybe November-ish, which was a while ago. And I tried my best to remember what happened. It's been a while, and I've been reading so many books since then. I've been reading so much, so it was somewhat difficult for me to remember some of this stuff, but I did remember little things. And I hope you guys enjoyed this book talk. I know it's not, like, my best that I've done with book talks. I will get better with book talks. From now on, I think I'm going to read the books and then start book talking so that, like, the information is fresh in my mind, which is the idea, instead of just waiting. But I hope you guys enjoyed that little book talk. I'm going to be doing more book talks on this channel. I know it's been, like, October since I filmed my last book talk. I've had technical issues, you know that. So I had planned to do Heir a while ago, like May, June, but, well, technology got in the way. I was so behind on videos, so I couldn't really do the Heir book talk. But I said it many times in videos, and it finally happened, so you got your Heir book talk. And also, if you missed it, my skit is up on that channel. I hope you also enjoyed that skit. I had a great time filming that. I hope you enjoyed that. And the behind the scenes is up while I'm filming this video now. I am editing that right now, but by the time this video goes out, that behind the scenes will be out. I hope you guys enjoyed those behind the scenes. I didn't really film an outro because I didn't think that I needed one, but apparently I did. But I hope you enjoyed those little outtakes because it was really fun to film and really fun to like take you behind the scenes of how I film my videos and how the skit worked. I'm going to do another skit in the future. I think I'm going to do one about writing because I feel that maybe the reading has a sequel, like I did the How I Became a Reader video, and then I had the How I Became a Writer. So with reading comes writing, at least in my world. So I'm going to do a writing skit next, which I hope to film maybe around like November. If not, because of the school year, I probably won't get to it during my winter break. I'll try to film my skit and try to get it out because I want to do a writing skit, but I really have no ideas. I just thought of that while I was working on my reading skit. So enjoy the skit for the time being. So that's basically it. I'm going to be filming more videos. The Queen of Shadows is going to come out a little late because when you see this video, I will be editing it. I'm going to be on vacation, so I'm probably not going to be filming Queen of Shadows for at least a few months. So hopefully I remember to post stuff from that book. Yes, I will be filming that book talk next, and then I will probably get to a writing video. I know I say this a lot, but I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but if I do, I hope to get to it maybe around NaNoWriMo, which would be nice too. But I hope to film a writing video at least close to NaNoWriMo if I can, and then I'm going to go on a hiatus, but I'll discuss that when it happens. So I'm not going to keep repeating myself because I keep saying that in every video, and you guys don't want to hear that over and over again. So with that being said, if you are not following, I'm at Real Writing on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm at DivergentFan93 on Snapchat. So follow, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye!